My name is Brian Pallister, and my favorite teacher was my mother, Ann Pallister, and Poyser when she started. Every mother is a teacher, but my mother was doubly so, I suppose. And because I know her background, I have an even greater appreciation for her teaching career. She taught for many years in country schools. She came from poverty. She grew up near Roblin, a little community called Marydale, and she lost her mom when she was 12 years old, had to raise her brothers and sisters. So she learned, I guess, some teaching skills early, and then she knew that education was her way to make her way in life, her way to get out of being poor. And she went and worked out for family farms for a couple of years to save money, and then she used that money to come into Winnipeg. And she got a job here as a nanny, raising children, while she finished her grade 11 and grade 12 at Kelvin. And she graduated, then she went to a thing called normal school, or normal school, I guess, which many teachers will remember who are over 70. It's her certification occurred there, and then she went out and she taught in 1- and 2-room country schools for the next approximately 25 years, where teachers had to involve everyone, especially in the Christmas concerts. Everybody had to have a role. And on mornings like this winter morning in Manitoba, I'm reminded that they also had to break the ice on the water pail. There were a lot of challenges to those days, and my mother shared some of that with me. When I got into teaching, my sister and I both pursued teaching. We both pursued our educations not because we had a choice, but because our mother told us that we had to. And she went back to university in the 1960s to finish her bachelor's degree, and then she went back in the 70s to finish her master's, to serve as an example to us, I think. She concluded her teaching career at a school called Yellow Quill School in Portersville Prairie. She taught grade 3. She said the 8-year-olds were perfect. And she spent the last 20 years working with perfect children, making them even more perfect. Having a mother who's a teacher has advantages and disadvantages, I suppose. For a lot of my friends growing up in the 50s and 60s, as I did as a young kid, their mothers were at home all the time. And my mom was not. She was a provider for us. Our little farm couldn't feed everybody effectively, and thank goodness that my mom had that ability to go out and teach. So there were disadvantages in that, but there are advantages too, and certainly access to additional reading opportunities, watching the example of my mother and the way she worked and the way she worked with the children in her care, and seeing those lessons was really useful and inspirational to us as kids. And I suppose also there was never a road trip that we had as a family, never a Sunday drive where there wasn't a book of poetry or a quiz or some skill testing exercise going on, because Mom was constantly teaching. Even in her mid and late 80s, she was still looking for signs of improvement in her middle-aged children, and she was coaching and mentoring all the time. The day before she passed, her last social activity was totally appropriate. She attended the graduation of my niece and passed in the night. But her legacy continues on with her kids, her grandkids, and her caring, her leadership is something I will always treasure. And I'm thankful to have had a mother who was a teacher in every sense of the word to guide me in my life.